Hello everyone. It's James again. And today I want to talk about something very important. But before we jump into the topic at hand, I want to say thank you for my long time and brand new subscribers. I really do appreciate you a lot. I appreciate you being a big part of this channel's growth. And as we know, the more not only this channel grows, but other channels like it, the more people out there will have the awareness of problems such as narcissism, narcissistic abuse, and other evils that go on in our society. And the more someone knows, the more hopefully they can sidestep such problems and get on with having a happy and fulfilling life. Now if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. Please be a part of this channel's growth. And I'm happy to say, we just went over the 36,000 subscriber mark. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It really means a lot to me. Also please don't forget to click the little bell to be notified each and every time I upload a new video. Also, please don't forget to comment, like and share. This will also help these videos be pushed to the front of YouTube so others that need to hear and see this information will have a better chance at finding this type of material. And if you would like to support even further, you can do so by the way of Patreon. You can find a link in the description box below. And if you are already supporting by the way of Patreon, I humbly say thank you from the bottom of my cartoon heart, as every little bit helps. And I do really appreciate your support. With that said, what is this video about today? What's the topic? Narcissists sometimes make it impossible to really know the truth. Narcissists sometimes make it impossible to really know the truth. And I will tell you why I started to think about this in a moment. However, it's important to know things aren't straightforward when dealing with narcissism, especially when you are dealing with covert narcissism. And this is very important to understand because narcissists love to accuse people of things they didn't do, and dirty the waters up so much that it's hard to tell the truth. And in that, you can say to yourself, I can see that happening. Because we all know that certain abuses do happen. No matter if you are talking about one spouse to another, or you are talking about from adult to child, or from stranger to stranger. You see, I watched the Leaving Neverland documentary. And because over the years, many people had a strange feeling about Michael Jackson's relationship with children. However, there have been children interviewed regarding child abuse. One child being Corey Feldman. And Corey said Michael Jackson in no way, shape or form abused him. However, he was willing and wanting to provide the police with the names of those in Hollywood that did abuse him and others according to Corey. Names these police didn't follow up on, at least at the particular time. So here the police and investigators have names of several men that abused this one child actor and other child actors. Yet they didn't want to follow up on this information and these names given to them, as they were only interested in taking down Michael Jackson. And it's these types of situations, despite how strange Michael Jackson was, makes people pause and think, maybe he didn't do it. And as for me, I just don't know. I don't know if Michael Jackson is all of the things the media claims. I don't know. However, what I do know is the media lies. And I do know the media loves to push certain agendas and themes to sway the public to think and believe certain things they want the masses to think and believe. But that being said, there are so many moving parts to these types of abuses. As I've mentioned before, oftentimes parents will bring their children around. And I'm not saying it happened or didn't happen in this case. But parents oftentimes bring their children around such people, knowing that things are off, if that makes sense. Because the parents want to take money and their way of life for themselves. And this happens all the time, even on the lower levels of society. Just as long as the not-so-smart narcissist has something the clever and smart narcissist wants for themselves. You see, though narcissists love to prey on those that aren't narcissists, they will and often do prey on each other. And the clever and smart narcissist will oftentimes use the impulsive and not-so-clever narcissist's impulses against them, knowing their children will be abused. And the parent can then feed on the abuse, along with suing to get money. I believe a child many years ago admitted he was put up to this kind of thing by, I believe, his father against Michael Jackson. It wasn't a child that was in this documentary. It was another child that I believe said he was taken advantage of, but then came forth years later and said it was a complete lie his father forced him to tell. Now, what I can say in this documentary, not one of the fathers were interviewed. It was all the mothers and grandmothers of the victims. One of them had his brother speak, but he was a bit negative towards his mother, talking about how this friendship his brother had had with Michael Jackson was a good chance for his mother to leave her marriage. Their father, who was diagnosed with being bipolar mental illness, who begged his family not to leave them when he needed them quite badly. And guess what? The mother got up and left to have this fantasy life that Michael Jackson was going to so-called offer her and her child. Now, despite all of that, despite all of the parents that seem to be so taken by this rich man Michael Jackson that is presenting her and her child with a rich life, is it possible Michael Jackson did what he is accused of? Yes. It's possible. But it's also possible everything said about him is a complete and utter lie. Because again, we live in a world where lies are presented in the most believable way. I remember my mother accused my father of touching my brother in a wrong way in what the courts call the silver bullet to get custody of my brother and I. Now, this is something that I know never ever happened. And I do know that this is a common lie that, sorry to say it, ladies, many women that are getting a divorce will say this lie so they can get control of the money, assets and children. But here's the thing. There are both men and women that really do this type of horrible act to their own children. However, society says that men do this over and over again. So when a man is accused of such an act, it's believed. Because these things can and do happen. And because the waters are dirtied so much, most people err on the side of believing, because most people don't want to see a child abused in such a manner. But then again, it might be a situation where it really did happen. But the parents put their child in such a situation because all they wanted to do is use their children as a way to extract whatever the abuser they put them around has. We see this happen in the news, where a mother and boyfriend are arrested for the abuses of the mother's child, and later come to find out the mother knowingly provided access of her child to their scumbag boyfriend on purpose. And then at the end of the day, she cries and says he forced her to do all of this. And unless you know how these abuses work, most people look at such situations in a one-dimensional way. That this man must have done it and everyone else is the victim, mother included. When in reality many of these cases have 10 different sides to them. So instead of looking at such cases from one side, you have to look at it from 10 different vantage points to get anywhere near the truth. And sometimes even then, you might not get to the truth. And this is why many people don't want to think in this way. Because seeing all the many truths that could be there is enough to make one's head hurt. And it makes you do something that many people don't want to do. And that means looking at the accuser as the possible liar and evildoer. Now, what I do know in the Michael Jackson case, one of these two young men at one point said Michael Jackson did nothing wrong to them. And the FBI investigated Michael Jackson for about 10 years without Michael Jackson knowing it. And the FBI found nothing. Now, with all that being said, is that a cause for a parent to feel okay to leave their child with Michael Jackson? Heck to the no, 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 no. But what it means is the FBI found no wrongdoing on Michael Jackson. And people keep on changing their story as they sue his estate for millions and millions of dollars. Now is this a case where he did all of the things that many have said? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But what I do know, there are many layers. Many layers. And as we've noticed in recent news, that not all allegations are true. And people can lie for financial and status gain. And they've been doing such a thing since the beginning of time. Also keep in mind when talking about Hollywood and the movie industry. Though on the outside of things, it appears to be fluffy and run like a happy business. However, more than likely, and I stress more than likely, Hollywood is run like an organized crime family. Do yourself a favor and watch the Godfather movies. And you will see how organized crime families were doing their best to get their hooks into legitimate businesses. That was their entire goal. To become 100% legitimate. And many of these businesses were based around Hollywood and the music industry because there was a lot of revenue being generated. And though their methods were a bit crude in years past, I don't think they went away. I think they have been able to cloak themselves under the fluffy exterior that Hollywood presents to the public. And instead of spraying someone with bullets, they make it look like an accident. Now I know there are many of these people in Hollywood and the music business that are quite reckless and into some bad stuff. But isn't it weird, most of these people that have something for others to steal end up dead under very strange and accidental circumstances? Now yes, I do believe that some of these deaths are what they are, and were what they were, sadly. But I also believe some of these deaths could be more than that they were shown to be. And could be hits. They had something the criminal leaders wanted. Criminal leaders that pose as executives. Or whatever. And the actor or the musician won't give up this thing these people want from them. And mysteriously they end up dead, and the so-called executives end up getting what they were after. And despite how strange Michael Jackson was, many people see this as a possibility in his life. And because of that, they see it as a possibility that everything said about him was a lie. But Michael Jackson being so strange makes some people think it's at least possible Michael did what he's accused of. But here's the thing. Narcissists bank on all of this. Because if there's enough acceptance for their story, they can possibly get what they are after. You see, I was recently watching a short interview with Dr. Phil, yes. I know. And Joe Rogan. Regarding the Catch Me Outside girl. And the short story is, this is a young girl that was out of control on his show. And the mother, though she was supposedly wanting help for her daughter, was no better than her daughter. The daughter had a funny line on the show where she told someone that she was having a verbal fight with to catch her outside. That being said, after Dr. Phil sent her to get help for 4 months, after one day with her mother, she went back to being bad again, sparking another contact from the mother to Dr. Phil for help. So Dr. Phil did something interesting. He had them on the show with no audience. And the mother and the daughter seemed shocked and not happy about it, and didn't seem their usual selves and had very little to say. And the reason why is they weren't getting any narcissistic supply or attention. Parents will do this using their children to get attention, money, and fame. Even if they put their children in really horrible situations. Situations that may be real, with real abuse, with real consequences. But then sometimes, the entire thing is completely made up. This is why evidence is very important. Because without evidence you might be believing a real victim. But just the same you might be believing an evil narcissist's lies. Something to think about. Well, that's all I have for now. I do hope your day was blessed. And until next time, bye for now. And be good to yourself.